All right, welcome to episode 3 of Chewing the Fat. My name is Wendy Lieber, and I am the co-founder of Content Bacon, and I am here with the amazing, fabulous Jason Etter, VP of Pretty Words and Things. Hello.
Hello.
So today we wanted to kind of quickly get into social media, specifically organic social media, and what as a company you should be doing and what as a company you should be expecting from your efforts if you're doing what we're talking about. So Jason, why don't you give us a quick overview from your viewpoint, or maybe from the Content Bacon viewpoint, which is really what this is. What do you view as a great strategy for companies around their organic social media? What is it? What should they expect? And give us a little more insight into what you're thinking.
Organic social from a business standpoint, there's a couple of thoughts. The first and foremost is this is not a place to advertise your shit that you're selling. If you want to advertise the stuff you're selling, which includes trying to, or at any realm, if you're trying to gain either profit or leads, that is what PPC is designed to do. You pay to play that game. You can target the people you want to target. You can make it hyper-focused and share some really good, relevant content, not to the ocean, but to the pond of the fish you're going after. Organic is completely ocean, right? There's two things that need to happen on organic. One, you have to be casting a net with the intent of just driving awareness to your target audience. So you're speaking to the people that don't know who you are yet. And two, you have to have someone that is actively engaging outside of your channel on behalf of your channel. Yep. Those are the two things that I think are most important, because if you have 300 followers and you're like, well, I'm posting my blogs and I'm posting this and I'm not seeing any engagement. Well, of course you're not, right. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, social media is meant to be social, right? It's not, ROI media. It's these are newish platforms. They've been around a decade-ish, and so companies having a presence, posting what I like to refer to as the 4 categories of content, educational, informative, entertaining, or inspirational. That to me is the kind of content that you should be posting on your social media platforms, for the exact reason that you're saying, to build awareness, to build likability, to, create those relationships using social media. But that's like the very first piece. It's not necessarily going to lead to someone reaching out to you to request a consultation or, buying a particular product. Over time, as you build your audience, your community, using other methods, it can get to that, but that's not the purpose of organic social media. It's really meant to be social. And I think that's where companies sometimes, maybe get frustrated because they're doing organic posts, but they're not necessarily feeling like, I've got no leads from my organic post. It's like, yeah, well, you're not supposed to get leads from that. If you do it, you're lucky, versus that's the expectation. And then I think, what maybe you can expand a little on is, if a company is, kind of looking to build their following, looking to build their reach, maybe get to the next level where they have the good foundation, but then they also want to take it to the next level. How might they think about that? And what are some things that they should, be doing in order to get to the next level? And really, what is the next level?
Yeah. So the next level is, it used to be that as long as you're posting something, success, right? Well, guess what? Everyone's doing that now, right? So welcome to the party. The challenge now is, how do you find yourself pushing through the weeds and being recognizable to your target audience or audiences? from an organic, or I guess sometimes an easier way to say it is the free tool, as
Mhm.
in when you're not running advertisements, when you're not paying to advertise, to boost, to encourage form fill downloads, etc. When you're just using your free channel to advocate your vision, your brand, there's two very easy ways of at least narrowing down your who's seeing your content, which is through the use of hashtags and ats. Um, we've done some experiments where, if you're trying to, what I've seen more often than not work really well is praise.
Mm.
If you are an organization that really commends great, like for example, we love amazing writers, we love companies that are really thinking outside the box, and so when we commend organizations that aren't us, we're just saying for no reason other than to say, hey, high five, awesome job, right? This is a social platform, let's high five each other virtually. Those types of things get a lot of engagement very quickly. But the
Yeah.
reason it does is because you're leveraging relevant hashtags to the industries that are following these other organizations or following those hashtags, and you're adding organizations that also have their own followers, et cetera, or individuals or influencers. That will generate, without having to pay, more attention to your post. Now, one little warning, there are also people who completely take advantage of this and do it in almost in a like dangerous way. Like I've seen a lot of people that'll post something and then in the comments, they'll at about 50 people that they are interested in working with. That's like snake oil garbage. Like, don't do that. I would imagine anybody watching this wouldn't do that anyway, but it's worth pointing out that they are out there. And unfortunately, it does kind of work sometimes. So that's a little annoying, but it is something worth mentioning.
What I hear in that, which is, I think part of our culture and what we believe makes great content, is it needs to be authentic. It needs to be real. It's not meant to be manipulative. And what you're talking about are, it's kind of like the old days of SEO, where you could, there were all kinds of tricks to get found that you would do that would make a terrible user experience, but it would have you show up high in the rankings, and that quickly became, not, there was no workability in that, Google started to punish you. I think it's the same in social. And I always just like to remind people, social media is meant to be social. It's not meant to be, hard sales. I always equate it a little bit to like networking events. And we've all experienced going to a networking event and, kind of being bombarded by that person who's only there to, to get leads. And all we want to do in those situations is run versus, building familiarity, going to, the same networking event a couple times so that you get to know people, that you give before you get. And I really think it's the same on social, being there to give great information, to provide comments, to interact with your audience is really kind of where it's at, and you will be rewarded, but it does take time. It's not a strategy to get leads. It's like these are channels that are wonderful channels to utilize, but you have to actually put in the time to make them work for you.
The more targeted you get, even within like simple confines of hashtags or ats, the stronger the message becomes. The other thing too that is worth talking about with social is sometimes I hear that people are like, oh, I don't want to post too much, it'll overwhelm people. I follow some I follow companies that post maybe 5 or 6 times a day, not a week, not a month, a day. And I never feel overwhelmed by their information for 2 reasons. One, you bet your ass I don't have notifications turned on for them. Right. And no one else does either. And if they do, they're going to turn them off immediately. And 2, social on all platforms is an as I'm present environment. So if you posted something 3 hours ago, Wendy, there's a chance I might not see it. If you posted 6 things yesterday and I wasn't on social media, there's a chance I don't see it. But to your point, if someone is interested in Content Bacon and they go to the Content Bacon LinkedIn page, Facebook page, Instagram account, and they see the activity, one, they're not going to be upset or overwhelmed that you posted a lot in one day or in 1 week or in 1 month, but they are going to look and just filter through and see what you're talking about.
Yep.
So that's where it becomes really relevant.
This concludes this month's episode of Chewing the Fat. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you all a wonderful, happy, prosperous day.